All right, here we go. Now, these are two parallel lines, and this is the transversal. So we have 108 here. Now, these two angles next to each other, okay, create a straight angle. Okay, so this was a straight angle, and somebody cut it into two pieces. So a straight angle is 180 degrees. So this angle plus that angle have to equal 180 degrees. So this one has to be 72 degrees, because when you add those two together, they equal 180 degrees. Now the same thing happened here. This line is a straight line, so this angle was a straight angle, and then it got cut into two pieces. So 72, so this has to be 108. That's called vertical angles. These angles are always going to be the same when an X happens. Same thing here, 72. So you see the pattern is 108, 72, 108, 72. So anytime you shift to a new angle in this sequence, it's going to be the next one. And there's only two different types. So the same thing's happening now here. Because this angle, this line is parallel to that one. And this line is intersecting it in the exact same form. So every number that happens up here repeats down here. So if that's 108, this one has to be 72. Then this one has to be 108. And then this one over here has to be 72. So now I know what X and Y equal. Because they share the same spot, that means they're equal to each other. So X equals 72 and Y equals 108. Now it's the same process that's happening over here. This is 72, right? Which means this one has to be 108. And this one has to be 72. And then this one here has to be 108. And this one has to be 72. So that means that this one has to equal 108. So this and this are equal to each other. So we go over here and solve the problem. 10x plus 8 equals 108. Subtract 8 from both sides because we're trying to leave the x by itself. So now we have 10x. So we have one less thing next to the x. But now you have to get rid of the 10. The 10 and the x are multiplying, so we're going to divide, which is the opposite. Divide by 10. X equals 10. So the solution to our problem is x equals 10. Okay? So you always have to figure out the second number and then follow the sequence. 72, 108, 72, 108, 72. Every time I go to a next angle, it changes between those two numbers. Now this is about exterior angles. Now, there is a way of figuring out the last angle in the triangle because it adds up to 180. And then you could solve this. But you don't always have that luxury. So you do have to learn this new shortcut, which is these two angles always add up to this angle out here. So this exterior angle, okay, is the sum of the two angles it is not touching. So these two angles. So if you add 50 and 40, you get 90. And then 9 plus 9 is 18. You add them up, and we get 108. Man, I'm obsessed with 108 today. I don't know why. So then that's how we solved for this one. Now this is going to be very similar to what we're doing here. Okay, because again, I can figure out what this equals, but it doesn't really help me figure out these. But what I do know is that these two interior angles add up to 135. So 3x plus 1 plus, remember together means add them, 3x plus 14. So these two together have to equal this exterior angle. So if there was another formula here, I would have put the formula right here. So now I combine the x's. I have 3 x's and 3 x's. That gives me 6 x's. And 1 and 14 give me 15. And that equals 135. So again, I'm trying to leave the x by itself. So I have to get rid of the two things that are affecting the x. And I have to get rid of them in the order farthest away. So the 15 is what I'm going to get rid of first. So if I subtract 15 and subtract 15, I'm left with 6x on this side because the 15 is gone now. And I'm left with 120 on this side. If I divide by 6 here and divide by 6 here, now I know that x equals 20. All right? Here, we're trying to figure out if these two angles are similar. These two triangles are similar. Similar means that they're the exact same shape, but they've shrunk, which means they still contain the exact same angles. All right. So first, I got to see what I can finish here. So I don't know what's here. I only need to see triangles only have to share 2 angles, and they automatically share all 3. Okay, like if one of them is 100 and the other one's 40, and the other one shares 140, well, triangles have to add up to 180, so they both have a 40 as their third number. So anytime they share 2 angles, they automatically share all 3 angles. So right now, they don't look like they share anything, but we have to check. Now, the only thing I can see that we can finish is this triangle right here. Okay? So 70 and 50 make 120. So this angle has to be 60 because every triangle adds up to 180. So now they do share 1. Ooh, okay. We can see if they add up to anything else. 60. Now, the only thing I can figure out now is this straight angle that's been cut into 3 pieces. 60, 50, and this one. So these 3 angles have to add up to 180. So 60 plus 50 plus the mystery number I do not know equals 180. So I'll take away 60 from both sides. I'm left with 50 plus something equals 120. Then I take away the 50 from both sides. Now that something is now 70. So this angle is 70. Look, they share 2 angles, which automatically means that they share all 3, which means these are similar. Okay? If this one would have been 71, this would have been a no. Now here they tell me they are similar. This is a similar symbol. So they are similar. So now we got to figure out what's going on. So these angles are the same. A is the same as D, B is the same as B, C is the same as E. So I can't figure out this one because I don't know what this one is. Okay, if I had this one, it could help me solve this, so I can't. These 2 X's are next to each other. Now look, it made an X. That automatically means that this straight line right here has been cut into 2 pieces. What does that tell me? That tells me that 10x plus 8x equals 180, which means 18x equals 180. If I divide by 18, x equals 10. So now that I know x equals 10, I can plug it back in. 8 times 10 is 80. So this angle right here is 80. And these angles are the same, just like when it happened over here. When an x happens, these 2 angles are the same, vertical angles. So now that we know that this equals 80, that means that this one equals 80. Now I know 80 plus 4y plus 6y equals 180. So if I take away the 80, it's left with 100. So I know 6y plus 4y, which is 10y, equals 100 now. Okay, because 10y plus 80 equals 180, and I took 80 away from both sides. If I divide, y equals 10. So now I know y equals 10, and also x equals 10. All right, that was the bulk of the lessons. Good luck.